Elizabeth Thomas was born on July 23, 2001, in Culleoka, Tennessee, into a large family with 5 siblings. Her childhood was marked by instability. Her mother faced legal issues and was involved in abusive behaviors, including mistreatment of the children. In 2016, Elizabeth and her sister reached out to authorities, leading to her mother being removed from the household. This was a pivotal moment for Elizabeth, who, along with her siblings, was then enrolled in public school. Elizabeth had a difficult time adjusting to this new environment, facing challenges at school as she dealt with emotional trauma from her home life. Elizabeth began attending Culleoka Unit School, where she met Tad Cummins, her 50-year-old health teacher. Cummins, who had a reputation as a charming and controlling figure, became a trusted adult in Elizabeth's life. As she dealt with feelings of isolation, Elizabeth confided in him about her personal struggles. Unfortunately, Cummins saw this as an opportunity to manipulate and groom her for a sexual relationship. He began making inappropriate comments about her body, isolating her from others and encouraging her to avoid seeking counseling despite her emotional distress. In early 2017, Cummins was caught kissing Elizabeth by a fellow student. This led to a brief investigation and Cummins' suspension from the school. However, instead of ending his manipulative behavior, he intensified it. He continued to contact Elizabeth, often using threats to control her. He told her that if she didn't comply with his demands, he would harm himself or her family. He also used sexual threats to keep her isolated and fearful. Despite the suspensions, Cummins had already begun planning his next move. On March 13, 2017, Elizabeth disappeared. She left a note for her sister saying that if she didn't return by evening, the police should be contacted. Cummins had coerced Elizabeth into running away with him. He manipulated her with promises of love and threats of violence if she refused. Elizabeth's disappearance triggered a nationwide search, and an Amber Alert was issued. Meanwhile, Cummins, who had dyed his beard and made other efforts to disguise themselves, drove Elizabeth across multiple states, including Oklahoma, Colorado, Utah, and California. They were on their way to Mexico when they were discovered. Authorities quickly identified Cummins as the primary suspect in the kidnapping. The investigation revealed that he had planned the abduction for months, including the purchase of camping gear and the disposal of cell phones and GPS devices to evade detection. For 38 days, the FBI, local law enforcement, and family members searched for Elizabeth. During this time, Elizabeth was subjected to constant control and manipulation by Cummins. He monitored her every move, isolated her from the outside world, and even forced her to sleep naked to ensure she could not escape. Elizabeth was eventually discovered on April 20, 2017, in a remote cabin in Northern California. A tip from a local resident who recognized Cummins led authorities to the cabin. Elizabeth was found in a distressed state but alive. She was safely rescued and returned to her family. Cummins was arrested and faced charges, including aggravated kidnapping and transporting a minor for sexual exploitation. In 2018, Cummins pleaded guilty to federal charges, including the kidnapping and sexual exploitation of a minor. In 2019, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison, where he will serve time for his crimes against Elizabeth. Since the traumatic events, Elizabeth, now known as Liz Dirla, has worked hard to rebuild her life. She married and became a mother, choosing to live a private life away from the media spotlight. She has used her experience to advocate for victims of abuse, though she now leads a quiet life in Maury County, Tennessee. Elizabeth's family also continues to support her. Her father, who had been working as an exterminator when Elizabeth was growing up, has been a strong presence in her recovery. Elizabeth now focuses on her personal healing and safety, far removed from the public eye. This tragic story highlights the importance of protecting vulnerable individuals, particularly in environments where trust can be exploited. The case also brought attention to the dangers of grooming, the abuse of power by trusted adults, and the long-term effects of such traumatic experiences.